Alright guys, unfortunately for bulls, Bitcoin just broke below a major support level, but that means our major short is now in a massive profit. And the next support for Bitcoin is even lower from here. In this video, I'm going to show you the exact targets to the downside and also where Bitcoin could see a bounce and where I'm taking profits on my short or even entering a new long position. Let me show you exactly what's going on. So yeah, as you can see, Bitcoin has broken below the support that we talked about in the previous videos. The golden pocket, the CME gap and the liquidity level that were all stacking up at the same area. And we said that this is a major support level and that if Bitcoin loses it, it is going much lower. In full transparency, that does mean I was stopped out of my long position on Bitcoin because of the stop loss I had just below the low. And thank God I was, because look at what happened after. Once Bitcoin lost the golden pocket, it saw an even bigger retracement to the downside. But that also means our major short that we entered at the highs is still running and is now in a massive profit. Now Bitcoin is, as of right now, trading in some kind of a downtrend, very well respecting this trend line right here. And just a few hours ago, Bitcoin actually pumped right into it and got rejected straight back to the downside. So until Bitcoin does not break above this trend line, we can expect even more downside in the short term. And if we pull up the 50 and the 200 EMA, what you'll see that on the 2-hour time frame, those are showing a clear downtrend. And that is of course not particularly bullish for Bitcoin, and this is somewhat telling me that Bitcoin is likely to hit our next targets to the downside potentially very soon. However, on the 4-hour they are still not crossed, but they are coming together fast. And if Bitcoin does go lower from here, that will likely be the first cross since the uptrend right here began. And that would be of course another slightly more bearish sign for Bitcoin. And let me show you those exact levels right now. The first one will be this daily level right here at 75.7 thousand US dollars. And it's not only the daily level. If we take the anchored VWAP and anchor it exactly at the low at 65,000 US dollars, what you'll see is that VWAP comes in exactly at the daily level. So we have the daily level and the anchored VWAP stacking up at the same area. That is definitely the next target for Bitcoin and where it could see some kind of a reaction. And it might even be smart to take some profits on the short right at this level. But I do not think that's the biggest target in the upcoming days. And before I show you what I think is the biggest target, I would really appreciate it if you guys are finding this helpful to like the video, subscribe to the channel because 100 subscribers is definitely possible, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Alright, let's get back to the video. Slightly lower than the daily level and the anchored VWAP, there is this liquidity level at 74.8 thousand US dollars. And let me show you why I think this is an even bigger target and a stronger support for Bitcoin. If we right now take the fib retracement and drag it from this low to the exact high, what you'll see is that the golden pocket aligns perfectly with the liquidity level. But that's not all. If we also pull up the fixed range volume profile and drag it across this entire multi-month range, what you'll see is that the value area high lines up with both the liquidity level and the golden pocket as well. So we have three major things stacking up at the same area: the liquidity level, the golden pocket and the value area high of the entire range. That is definitely a huge target and a very strong support zone for Bitcoin. And that is exactly where I'll be looking for some kind of a bounce and potentially another long entry. And if we right now open up the liquidation heat map on the 1-week chart, you can see something interesting. The largest liquidations are not stacked to the downside like they were before. They are actually now stacked to the upside above the recent highs. And that is of course some kind of a magnet for the price and a slightly more bullish indication for Bitcoin. And if we zoom out to the 2-week chart, you'll see pretty much the same thing. Not a lot of liquidations sitting below, but major liquidations stacked above the recent high. And I'm not saying those need to be swept exactly, but to me they are signaling that a bounce around these levels is somewhat likely. Now, I'm also not saying that Bitcoin can bounce from right here. It absolutely can, but for me to enter a brand new position or take profits on the short, I do need some kind of a level, some kind of a support area from where I can expect a bounce and with a simple invalidation just below that support. And right now, those levels are the ones we just talked about. The daily level with the anchored VWAP as the first one, and the golden pocket with the liquidity and the value area high as the major one slightly lower. And if Bitcoin does break below those levels, the value area high and the golden pocket Unfortunately, the next targets are much lower, but I do think that before Bitcoin potentially gets there, we will see some kind of a bounce at these levels we just mentioned. And in my opinion, those levels do have a high probability of seeing a bounce. So that's where we are, short in a massive profit, support broken, and the next major targets are set. Daily level and anchored VWAP as the first reaction zone, and the golden pocket liquidity and value area high as the big one below. As always, this is not financial advice and manage your risk. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.